Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on truth-driven stories across Africa. Share this video if you care about Africa's future, because today we ask, is the U.S. really a partner or a power player in the Sahel crisis?
Sahel is spiraling deeper into a political and humanitarian crisis, even being named the epicenter of terrorist activity by the UN. Vemba, what should the next administration do in its first 100 days to help the region?
It's crucial that the next U.S. administration signal to the military leaders in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, in Chad, that the U.S. is committed to resetting good relations with these countries. The U.S. had suspended a big chunk of collaboration with them because of military coups. The problem is today those countries have other options. In fact, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have really strengthened the relations with Russia. Those countries, their leaders, are very friendly to the United States. A lot of them were trained by the United States. If the U.S. does not reset the relations with these countries, the U.S. tends to lose.
The Sahel, a once proud belt of African civilization, is now the epicenter of global terrorism. According to the 2025 Global Terrorism Index, this region alone accounted for over half of all terrorism-related deaths worldwide in 2024. But something more alarming is now unfolding. At a major press conference in Kenya, General Michael Langley, commander of U.S. Africa Command, raised a red flag. He warned that extremist groups, from ISIS to Al-Qaeda affiliates, are not only destabilizing the Sahel, but are now pushing southward toward West Africa's coastal states. If these groups gain access to the coast, he said, they could expand smuggling, arms trafficking, and human trafficking, creating a major threat not just to Africa, but to U.S. interests as well. Langley's message was clear. AFRICOM is watching, AFRICOM is ready, and AFRICOM is here to help.
And that threatens America's interest?
Say again?
Does that then threaten America's interests?
Yes, thank you for asking that. Because especially ISIS, and of course in East Africa is inextricably linked all the way to ISIS West Africa, ISIS Sahel, and there's going to be probably a move afoot for them to move and seek refuge within the line. So we have shared objectives, and we offer to work together with the Burkina government and border countries. Mali, Niger, coastal West Africa countries, collective, because here's what these organizations do. Here's what these terrorist organizations do. They seek refuge in the seams or the borders of these countries and lets them thrive and grow, and lets them recruit, gain resources to carry on their illicit and nefarious activities against the populations of those people across the regions from North Africa to Southern Africa, East and West. We deepen our partnerships with various countries and their militaries to build towards what we see first as security comes first. For good governance and to institutionalize the militaries is the first step to be able to get stability and also prosperity for countries. That's where we engage with various countries across West Africa and East Africa and across the Maghreb as well, and then in Southern Africa. We've been building on these relationships for years, since 2007, 2008, engaging with various African countries that have shared objectives, shared values in our approach to the threats, but also to explore the opportunities.
But behind that diplomatic tone lies a far more complicated story, and See Africa TV is here to unpack it. Part 1. the security crisis, or the excuse. For years, U.S. forces and Western allies have operated in the Sahel, training troops, flying drones, conducting surveillance. Yet the situation has gotten worse, not better. So we must ask the question, why has terrorism exploded despite foreign military presence? Has the war on terror become a cover for prolonged foreign influence?
We demand body and soul the immediate withdrawal of American troops from our soil, not just America and France, but until the country is totally free from all those who are harmful to Niger. Of course we want cooperation with the United States, but not to bring its soldiers to settle illegally in our country.
The US has around 1,000 security personnel in Niger on a mission to fight armed groups in the Sahel region. But the protesters say that's not the reason why Washington has soldiers in their country.
These Western forces are coming to our country because it is full of uranium, diamond and gold resources. And these resources are untapped. These forces are at the origin of the arrival of terrorism in our country.
Niger was a key US ally in the region until a military junta took power in Niamey last year. The junta has turned to Russia for support. The protest comes a day after Russian military plane loaded with equipment and instructors landed in Niger. The junta ended a military agreement with Washington.
We asked the Americans to remove their soldiers from our country. We realized that they too are not serious.
Washington has not commented on the demands of the protesters, who say they will keep returning to the streets until the American soldiers leave Niger.
Part 2. The shifting game board. The governments of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have all taken bold steps, expelling French forces, reducing dependence on the West, and strengthening regional coalitions. In response, AFRICOM now emphasizes dialogue, even inviting leaders from these nations back to the table. But is this dialogue or just diplomatic containment? When Langley says, "We only go where we're asked," he adds a clause, as long as it aligns with U.S. national security objectives. So we ask again, whose security is AFRICOM really protecting? Africa's or America's? Part 3. Partnership or power play. Nigeria is painted as one of America's strongest allies in the region. Yet, for over a decade, Nigeria has struggled to contain Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa, even with U.S. support. Why has this support not translated into security for the people? Could it be that strategic interests in oil, trade routes, and regional leverage matter more to Washington than peace in Borno or Maiduguri? Part 4. A new Africa rising? General Langley admits that African armies are now standing on their own feet. And across the continent, a new Africa is rising, one that refuses to wait for foreign salvation. Yet AFRICOM insists that its role is to build capacity, foster partnerships, and bring peace through strength. But how do you build peace? Through drones, bases, and airstrikes. Real peace is rooted in strong local governance, economic justice, education, and trust, not military exercises. Final verdict. What should Africa do? Africa must be cautious. Not every handshake is friendly. Not every partnership is equal. The U.S. may say, we're here to help, but African nations must ask, are we solving African problems or trading our sovereignty for foreign security frameworks? See Africa TV's message. Africa does not need saviors. Africa needs truth, unity, and strength. The Sahel's crisis is not just about terrorism. It's about identity, control, and the right to determine our own future. If this message resonates with you, share this video, drop a comment, and tell us, do you trust AFRICOM's mission in Africa? Subscribe to See Africa TV, where the truth meets the people. Disclaimer, this video is for informational and educational purposes only. The views expressed here are based on public statements, reports, and independent analysis. See Africa. TV does not endorse or promote any group or government. Our aim is to inform, empower, and inspire informed conversations about Africa's